Hi everyone, Ryan Dunsbergen here, Golden Harvest Agronomist in southeast Iowa and northeast Missouri. I just finished walking a cornfield that was planted 2 weeks ago to the day, and I want to take some time to discuss the germination and development process of that corn plant. So first, let's talk about the seed itself. The seed contains three very important parts. The first part is the pericarp, or the seed coat. The second part is the endosperm, and this endosperm is filled with lots of starch, and that helps nourish the seed and the small seedling during the development process. The third part that's very important is the embryo itself. This embryo already contains a miniature corn plant. It contains the coleoptile, the radical root, as well as 4 to 5 pre-formed leaves that were already developed last fall when the seed was on the ear. So that's where we start. So I've got some plants dug up on that back end of my tailgate. Let's go take a look. Once the corn has been planted in the soil, the seed needs to imbibe or absorb about 30% of its weight in water in order to begin the germination process. And once that process is initiated, the radical root emerges first, and that is this right here, and it emerges near the tip end of the kernel. Next comes the coleoptile, which emerges from the embryo side of the kernel. The coleoptile is simply a rigid piece of plant tissue that completely encloses the 4 or 5 leaves that formed during the grain development process the year before. And the coleoptile initially elongates towards the dent end of the kernel, and then this mesocotyl right here continues to elongate and push this coleoptile up towards the surface of the soil. And while that's going on, the lateral seminal roots emerge next, and again they as well elongate towards the dent end of the kernel. So this process keeps going until the plant is totally emerged out of the soil. And here you can see this is another plant. This here is your tip end of the kernel and your radical root. And this here is the dent end of the kernel, and here are your seminal roots. But then here is your mesocotyl that extended towards the dent end of the kernel and continued to move up. And right there, see that little flap? So that was the coleoptile. What happened was once this coleoptile reached the soil surface, the sunlight triggered that coleoptile to split open, and it allowed then these leaves to continue to come through and open up, and so begins the life of a corn plant. So it took about, like I said, this field was planted about 2 weeks ago, and this field has had about 130 GDUs since planting. Normally it takes about 100 to 120 GDUs from planting to get your corn emerged and out of the ground. So this field is exactly right on, exactly where it needs to be. Now it'll take another roughly 100 GDUs to get this plant up to V2. And once that happens, I'll go back out, do another video, and kind of explain some things that are going on in that stage of the corn plant development. So I hope this was helpful. Just wanted to spend some time explaining the germination development process of a corn seed and corn plant. And once again, thanks for watching.